Men in heterosexual marriages will never understand the mental load and
Go watch her video. It's been trending everywhere in my search for news as I do every day. I look at the news and see what's going on. I caught this as it's gone pretty viral. I hope she's getting credit for it. If she ends up seeing this and she's not getting credit for it, Yahoo is reusing your TikTok as they do with a lot of people's stuff. Anyway, I do want to preface that she did say towards the end of the video that she is making this choice. She's where she doesn't have to change her name. I'm using that as a jumping off point. I have no hate towards her or anything. I think she makes very valid points. I am familiar with this process, and if she thinks that's surprising and rough, divorce for women is even worse. My partner went through a divorce, and the hoops she's had to jump through for them to still get her name wrong on state mail and other correspondence is ridiculous. Like, I don't think she's ever going to be done with the confusion. It's far better than it used to be, but me and her are many, many years in, and still they're getting her name wrong on official documents for stuff, which she has to call, correct, and get it done. It really is a pain. So again, to reiterate, you're not required to change your name when you get married. And I think that name change is another outdated practice of marriage that no longer needs to exist. I don't think it's necessary anymore. People in Hollywood have not been changing their names for years because they kind of understood that. Not to mention the fact that they changed partners like light bulbs used to be. I can't even use light bulbs anymore, can we? We need a new example. But anyway, I don't think it's necessary. I know there'd be a lot of men who are like, oh, she don't take my last name, she don't love me. Your last name doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. And further for that, women really get the bad end of things. If they divorce, their name ends up getting hyphenated in a lot of cases. You get these weird like Jessica and I don't know where I was going. It was going to be a lot of last names, but it's not working out. I can't think of last names. I'm bad at naming things. Know that in advance. Anyway, yeah, it's not a necessity anymore. It's like there's other practice we don't follow anymore. If I get married, I'm not going to expect my wife's or my potential wife's father to bring me a goat. I'm not expected to bring him a goat. Like, stuff like that's not needed anymore. The institution of marriage needs to be updated for the times. Other things people need to get comfortable with too is rings are not needed. You don't need rings, you guys. Look, the ring thing is a lot of advertising in early Americana. If you don't know about that, I'll be glad to tell you that story, but it really is not a necessity. You really aren't required to have a diamond ring, gold ring, or anything. As it is, me and my partner, if we ever financially get stable enough to a point where we can afford to get married, because we'd like to have a celebration of some sort, but it's just really expensive, and we're being pretty cheap with ours. That's a whole nother story in itself, and that's not even an event coming up yet, but we've decided we're going to go with the neoprene rings. They're really neat. They're semi-stylish. I know a couple who's older that went to those from rings they had. We just don't want the metal. A lot of people in our generation are either allergic to metal or find it uncomfortable. And I don't mind wearing rings, metal rings, but I'm worried to get broken, or it's just kind of a nuisance to have to take off all the time. The neoprene rings you can take off and put on. I've worn some as a test to see how it runs for like a day, a week, and longer, and they're so much more comfortable and cheaper. They're still pretty overpriced in my opinion at like $50 to $250 per. But the fact that you get a lifetime guarantee and you can get different sizes swapped out with many places, it's just infinitely better. So anyway, not to get off on a tangent on that. No, ladies, you don't have to change your name, and you shouldn't need to. For me, my outlook on this is maybe other men in my generation will feel the same, but when I got with someone, their name was part of their identity. That was them. Why would I want them to change their name? Now, that being said, there are a lot of women who still latch onto that and they want the last name. Now, I'm in a unique position. I hate my last name. I don't like my last name because it belongs to my father, and I don't like my father. I don't want his last name, but I don't know what to change my last name to. So that's a dilemma for myself. And if I have a potential wife who wants my last name, she's now going to adopt a name that I have to figure out. That just seems so weird. Wouldn't it be easier just to keep the names? That way, if you do divorce, your name's exactly the same. There's no name change back. It's all done. So what are your thoughts on this? Ladies, would you support not changing your name? Men, how do you feel about that? I know what older men are going to say, so I'm focusing that question more towards the age group. In my age group, I'm 38. So if you're between the ages of 30 and say 45, feel free to comment what you think on that. Unless you got a different perspective and you're older, but I'm pretty sure boomers like, no, she must take your name. And I don't think that makes anybody any less. So, but questions, comments, and that, feel free to leave them, guys. I do appreciate it.